All right, guys, episode 36 of the podcast with Cory and John, also known as Parliament of Owls. And we met at Aaron Birch's studio. And that same night, we came to the studio and we had a studio session. It was cool. And then it was cool meeting up with them again yesterday. And we talked about their travels in Taiwan and just their performances over there. And now that they're back in California and Ventura, what they're doing now to pursue music. And it was cool just chopping it up with them, getting to learn about the history of Taiwan and just their travels. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. I enjoyed talking to them, and I'll see you guys on the next one, all right? Peace. So we were talking about vocals.
Yeah.
How do you guys work off of like vocals and stuff?
Well, thus far it's been kind of like haphazard.
Yeah.
So it'd be like finishing stuff on the MPC and then like putting it into Reaper on an old MacBook or something like that.
Okay.
But I just work much slower that way, and like, I don't know, it doesn't come out sounding that great. So I've been trying to do it on that box because recently they came out with a vocal suite, so you can get it like there's a vocal tuner in there, like a auto tune. There's a harmonizer that you can get some really crazy sounds out of. I'm really digging that. So you can like plug in a chord and it'll sing, a stack of voices with that chord. And there's also a doubler or something like that. So I've been trying to like do it in the box, but I guess with great difficulty is how we do vocals.
Yeah.
It's the setup is like, for a while, the first time we did it, all I could hear through the headphones I was wearing was my voice and the track. Like, we didn't have the right stuff then to get like the track to come through both. I'm not good with technical stuff. That's him.
Okay.
But I couldn't hear myself, so I had to have like the headphone on one side so I could hear the track coming out of the speaker. And then
when Which you shouldn't do, folks. Don't play the track through the speaker when you're tracking vocals. No, it's not recommended.
I went too loudly, and then I couldn't hear the track, and I would get off of tempo because I couldn't hear the music anymore because it was singing too loud. So I had to like hold it back. So like I was upset with my vocal performance because I was like restricting myself, and then it's like, well, let's fix it with doubling, and so. It would be better to just go into a booth, and just scream into the void. Yeah,
that's one of the techniques I've been trying actually, because usually I would have two headphones in, but then I would take one out to hear like my own voice rather than like it coming in through the headphones. Which Ty showed me that.
Yeah, because it messes you up for a little bit.
It does
at first.
Well, it also it's a different sound for your voice. Mm-hmm. You hear your voice differently in a room than you do like just into a microphone.
True.
Yeah.
And that can affect your performance. Singers are sensitive. Everything affects the singer's performance.
It does. Yeah. But that's why we do this, where we cup the hand by the ear.
Yeah, right?
My stronger ear is the left ear, so I always just like hold with the right and sing with the left, because if you go right up by the microphone, you can hear yourself and it's perfect. That's the singer trick, especially like if you're performing and you don't have a good monitor system. That's like what you have to do. You're like, well, I can't hear myself at all, so we're just gonna pretend and see if this works.
Yeah. Have you had any instances where you're like performing on stage and like you couldn't hear yourself?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of times. So when we were in Taiwan and we were performing, some of the places had pretty good sound systems, and then some of them were just like, it's a coffee shop where they had a speaker and they're like, all right, you guys kind of got to do your own sound.
Good luck.
Kind of thing. So those would be the ones that would be harder. But there was one venue in particular where every time I would perform there, I would lose my voice because I could never hear myself, even with the monitors.
Oh, wow.
And like a lot of people think I'm very extra when I perform, because a lot of times I will get down on the ground. Most of the time it's because I can't hear myself, and I just need to curl into a ball in front of the monitor, or I can't hear anything.
And so in Taiwan, how long were you guys there? Like,
Cory was there for 3 years. I was there for about 4 years.
Wow.
Maybe a little 3 and some extra.
That's dope.
Long time. I would come back during the summers, but until COVID. But Cory was there pretty permanently for about 3 years.
Yeah, pretty permanently. I traveled around a little bit when I first got to Southeast Asia, but then when COVID hit, it was just there for like 15 months straight.
Was that the goal for both of you guys? Was it travel first and then like wherever the music kind of take you, or did you have the goal in mind of working on music there?
It wasn't for like the first few years there, I didn't really have much in the way of music equipment because I wasn't like really thinking of myself as like settled there or anything like that. It still felt like a really long extended visit. So I had like an acoustic guitar, and that was about it. And I started to like accumulate, gear and picking up, an electric one or bringing an electric one back from the States, and then maybe grabbing a little effects pedal or like a synth here, and eventually had enough to like actually make the kind of sounds that I like hearing. Because I'm not really an acoustic guitar player, but I'm a guitar player, and so you bring it around with you if you're traveling the world.
Yeah.
Because it's light and you can carry it. But if I want to make the kind of sounds that I like hearing, I need like electricity. I can't do it acoustically. So that took a little while to sort of get into. When we met, I had acquired a bass, a really like heavy, just massive 5-string bass by Court, and I would go on Wednesdays to jam at a bar called the Ivy Palace.
Yeah.
And it was really close to my house, so I didn't have to wait for the train. I didn't have to catch the train back at like midnight. I could just bike back. And it was a very, very strange kind of cast of characters.
Oh, it was so
It was
good.
like something out of a TV show. It was very, very ridiculous,
It
and a
was
bunch
like
of the like
an-
staff like lived there, and they had their all like just ongoing hijinks. It was really a shit show. It was like co-owned by a bunch of people, but like a beautiful, wonderful shit show that I couldn't remember more fondly.
That's one
It
of
was
the
awesome.
greatest friends from there. I knew him for like 6 months before I even knew he played the guitar. Like I would see him every week at the jam. Like I would drum. I was still new to Taiwan, so like I moved there because I visited a couple years ago. So one of our projects there was this 5-piece band called All My Boyfriends, and the drummer and I have been friends for like I don't know, close to 10 years at this point, but he was going to school back in the end of 2015 there to like learn Mandarin because he just graduated and was like, oh, I'll just kind of keep going. So he moved there to like learn Mandarin, and I went to go visit him and really liked the place. And then I moved back here. The primaries were starting. Trump became president, and I was like, I'm not going to last this entire administration. So then I bailed from here at the end of 2018. And I had just started getting back into music. I grew up singing in a musical theater and dance and stuff as a kid.
Oh, cool.
And kind of just started focusing on painting in my early 20s and just like didn't perform much. And then towards like, I don't know, summer of 2018, some friends of mine started hosting a jam. I'd been taking drum lessons, so I was living in Philly at the time, so I'd go hang out with my friends and we'd just kind of jam around. And so I started writing songs, and I'd show up at open mic nights, and I didn't have enough theory memory under my belt to like tell anybody what keys and stuff my song was in. So I would just be like, okay, just follow me, I guess. And sometimes it would work out really well, and other times it would not go so great.
Yeah.
But so when I got to Taiwan, that's what I was doing. I just kind of started I had a friend of mine from Philly who had moved there about like 2 years before me, so she told me about Ivy Palace.
Yeah.
And I went to that and like started kind of playing and jamming with my friends, and like met him.
Just to paint a picture of this place again, a little bit more in depth, one of the things that I liked so much about it, and the reason I kept going back here every single Wednesday and not to like other jams, because there was other ones. It's like, it's the capital, so it's like there's stuff to do. And there's other jams, but I kept going back to this one because there was a real lack of pretension amongst all of the really, really good musicians there. There was some really talented instrumentalists and singers and stuff there who would be there regularly and would just are amazing at their craft and their art form.
Yeah.
And there was other people who were like just starting out or had been doing it a few years and were still not so great, or had progressed really quickly after a couple. So there was people at all different kinds of like experience levels.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you go to like a jazz thing, they're really into like, I don't know, it's kind of a wall there. If you try to go up and play, you got to be at least this good to go
I see.
on
Yeah.
stage at a jazz jam. Otherwise, they're going to just stare you down or like stop playing.
You needed a certain repertoire at some of those.
You got to know a song and stuff like that. So
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ivy Palace was interesting because there was some really, really immense talent there. And there was also people who really weren't like, hadn't been doing it that long or weren't so
They just liked
into it.
music.
It was like music, and so everyone gets up on stage together and no songs, right? you just
Yeah.
you
You're
just
just
try
playing stuff.
You just play it, and then something comes out, and maybe it's good if you're lucky.
And how big is this place? Is it like a small like kind of little?
It was actually probably narrower than this room, maybe
Oh,
like
wow.
those two walls, but it was long. It was an
Yeah.
old Japanese building,
Yeah,
I
the
guess.
front was like a store. They had really nice like
open
art
air.
goods,
The
open air,
ceiling
yeah.
was open in the
Oh,
courtyard.
dude.
It
No
was
way.
beautiful. So you passed through the courtyard after the store, and you could go like up the stairs, or you could go back into where like the bar was. where
Old
we
like
would-
handmade wooden stairs, like
Yeah.
a barn door in the back. It was
This place was
It
gorgeous.
was romantic. It was
It
a
opened back up
special
onto a
looking place.
highway. It was great. It was
So cool.
Yeah, it was really, really, really cool. And then upstairs had like all this old wood, and there was a bunch of rooms. There was like a studio. There were some like gallery spaces. There was like a room in the front where they would do like different workshops in the front during like different times. It was really a cool place. A lot of friends showed art there, and it was just constantly rotating. And yeah, it was really cool. One of my favorite things is the guy who ran sound, our friend Lawrence, is an amazing videographer. He makes really, really great videos, and he would just like film the jams, or just like when people would come hang out, he would just release these ridiculous videos of just like all their crazy shit that happened
Cool.
at the Ivy Palace.
Yeah.
So shout out non-existent business, Ivy Palace.
Yeah, right, Ivy Palace. You were.
I guess shout out Tacolis.
Tacolis, yeah. Our friends who ran that now run a place called Tacolis. So this is for Nick, I guess.
Were you guys staying in like hostels, or like did you guys have a living situation?
Currently, we're at my place or my folks' place.
Oh no, like
In Taiwan?
In Taiwan.
Taiwan.
Yeah, yeah.
We both had apartments.
Yeah,
Each
when
of us
I
had
got-
an apartment.
When I got there, I stayed like a good friend of mine from Philly that I've been friends with for like I don't know over a decade at this point. When I came back from visiting Taiwan, she was like, I talked about it, and she was just getting out of academia because she was sick and tired of dealing with it. So she's like, screw it, I'm just gonna move there. And she taught English and just like, you know, fell in love, found a girlfriend, like loved it, and she like ended up staying there. So I stayed with her for a week, but we were like in a studio apartment, like as big as this room.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, I know I originally told you 2 weeks. I'm like, no, I'm going to find an apartment real soon because this place is like too small for just one person. And we're both in this apartment. So yeah, I found a place. I kind of like moved around Taipei a little bit. I stayed in a city called Hualien this past year for about a month. I did an artist residency. So I spent most of my time in Taipei.
dude.
I had like
You as well?
4 separate apartments or so.
Oh, wow.
Going there, started out like first place was an Airbnb, and then just bounced around to a few different ones for various reasons with an ex at the time. Housing is interesting in Taiwan,
Yeah.
or in Taipei at least. It really like fluctuates a lot, and kind of just depends on where you're looking or like
Yeah.
when you're looking. You can find some really good deals, and you can find stuff that's just ridiculous. But maybe that's everywhere.
And I don't know, prior to like going there, were you guys, was it just like a thing where you guys were like, I'm just gonna go and see what happens, or was it like
I followed someone out there. I was with
I
a
see.
partner I had. We went together.
Okay,
we went
cool.
from staying in China where she was doing some work at the time, and yeah, just kind of liked it. Stayed there, had a good community for a while.
dope?
Yeah, mine was just like I knew I was going there because fuck it, I didn't want to be in the U.S. anymore, and I had a bunch of friends already over there. And my one friend's like, "Why don't you just come here?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah, hold on, let me like I calculated some stuff. It was like the end of June of 2018. I was like, I think I can make it out by the 3rd week of November, and I did. I like ended my lease on my apartment. I like closed out with my studio. Made sure my cat found a place to be, and just like did a huge so I'm mainly a painter. I've been painting for like 11 years, and I did a huge commission right before I left, and that's like kind of what gave me the fuel to get out of there. So yeah, and then I went to Europe for 2 weeks before I moved to Taiwan because I was like, I'm taking myself on a vacation. I'm gonna go backpack by myself
That's so dope.
in Berlin and Amsterdam, and then showed up in Taiwan, and I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. Cool.
Yeah, I really want to go to the Philippines and just like backpack out there too.
Philippines
are
is
nice.
pretty.
Yeah.
I've only been to Manila though, and that's not as nice as like the rest
Like
of the
Cebu
Philippines.
and stuff. What was that tree we found down there? The rainbow kaleidoscope?
Oh yeah, there's a tree that has like rainbow colors on the bark.
Oh
It's a bunch
shit.
of different like crazy colors just naturally.
Oh shit.
You ever get stoned and then just Google random things? I was painting a lot of trees, and he was like,
Wonder what the
What-
most colorful tree
yeah,
is.
what are the craziest trees? So it like Googled like the best trees, and it was like a list of somebody's like top 10 trees. One of them was called a rainbow eucalyptus, and it literally, the bark looks like rainbow, and apparently it's like only in this one spot in the Philippines.
I gotta look this up now.
Yeah, I was like, what? Why is this one number 10? This is easily the best tree on this list. I don't care. Okay, there's a 400-year-old bonsai. That's cool.
Screw
but
that.
look at this tree.
Let me see.
Yeah.
What the heck?
My best friend, who's also our bass player, him and I were supposed to go right before COVID hit. We were supposed to go to the Philippines because we wanted to go to this place called the Chocolate Hills of Bowl Hole.
Awesome.
Oh
man.
yeah, the Chocolate Hills. Yeah.
Yeah, but the name is so funny, and we just liked saying the name. And we were supposed to go there, and then all of a sudden the ticket prices shot up, and then the borders closed. So we're like, probably not a good time to go to the Philippines right now. So we're gonna stay here and see how this goes.
How was it with the COVID situation over there? Like, cause were they really strict? Cause I know that some
It was
governments
very smooth.
They were
it was smooth.
Yeah.
15 months behind with having any like major issues with like infections and having to go into lockdown. Like
Oh wow.
they closed the borders. What was like March 17th? Like you came back right before they shut
We
down.
had friends who were caught out. Yeah, I just got back very recently, and they shut the borders down really quickly.
Oh shit.
Like maybe a few days later. We had friends that were caught out, people who were, just out of the country visiting somewhere else, close by, because it's like, it's right around Japan, it's right around the Philippines. You kind
Yeah.
of just bounce around.
Yeah.
And couldn't come back. We
Yeah.
had a friend who was
That's
in India.
tough.
Manav, he just got stuck in India for like
90 days.
Yeah,
we had a
long
friend
time.
stuck there for like 3 months. He came back and it was just like so.
wait
like,
about half as much.
Yeah, we were like, oh my
He was just
god, man.
all beard.
Yeah, he was all beard and just like it's still in good spirits. But he was like, that was crazy, man.
Turn into a yogi.
Right. We had another friend who she's from Ireland and she got stuck in Thailand and then ended up having to go back to Ireland, and she lived in an artist community, and our bass player like. They were kind of like, hey, all your stuff's still here. So, like, his parents lived near there. So he's like, okay, my mom said I can, like, put all your stuff in my basement, but you got to, like, let me borrow something. So he wore this, like, elaborate rat costume that she made for one of our shows. But, like, I'm pretty sure her stuff is still in his mom's basement. I think he's like, oh, yeah. He's like, all of her stuff is still at my parents' house.
It's like I'll fly down there one time, one
Eventually.
day eventually.
Yeah, like, you end up, it was really weird being stuck because, like, I guess I can say this now because I'm not there anymore, but I was technically an illegal alien
Yeah.
for like 15 months because John came in on a traveler's visa, and those got automatic extensions for like the whole 15 months.
How long is the visa for?
90 days
90
usually,
90 days?
unless you leave the
Ah.
country and come back. They call it a visa run.
And it
so
resets
it's
it.
basically an open
Oh.
secret if you're out of the country at all and come back and have an American passport, right? You
I
get another
see.
90 days.
You get another 90 days.
So tons of people just do that. I know a woman
Hack.
who's been there for like 20 years, I think, and she
been
runs a
doing it.
business. She owns a factory out there, and she doesn't want to be on the government's like list or something.
So
like
yeah,
that. So she
she's
just does
been
visa
doing,
runs.
and she speaks Mandarin, and
Yeah.
right, like
She's basically a Taiwanese woman, as near as I can tell.
yeah. So I ended up coming back on a different visa, and I was applying for an artist visa, and I got denied because of like not having enough experience or whatever they said, which whatever. I tried, and then the borders closed, so I couldn't leave to reapply for the visa. So I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna stay here and see what happens. And there was a couple of times where like I definitely ran from the police a couple of times, like after shows.
Sick.
We'd come downstairs after a show at this one place we used to play all the time called Revolver, and I would walk down the stairs, and there would always be cops like doing foreigner checks for
Oh,
IDs,
shit.
and we would just walk straight out the building. We'd grab our friends, like, let's go on a walk around the block right now. Anybody want to go to 7-Eleven?
Those weren't foreigner checks though. Those are just like routine. Like cops come in and do like
They-
a little show for sometimes.
They did, but I didn't want to be around it.
No, of course not.
Because
But
I also
Yeah.
never went out
the
with my
police in
passport.
Taiwan are actually quite a bit nicer than
Yeah.
the United States, and like low bar, sure, but
Yeah.
Taiwanese police are not too bad to deal with in my experience.
I had a messy time leaving. I was supposed to leave July 2nd because like we got in trouble for playing without permits, and I just was like totally wiped out and just like done.
That's a thing, playing without permits?
Oh yeah.
Oh, actually, it has to do with the Philippines. There's some racist laws still on the book about performance.
No
so there's
way.
extra.
Yeah.
There's sort of like extra penalties for performing, and you don't even have to get paid to perform for it to be considered like breaking the law or like considered
jams.
work. So
You
like,
can get in trouble for
yeah,
playing
so
at
like
jams.
Jam,
we were
having jam
illegally
sessions.
jamming whenever we went over to the Ivy Palace and just played and didn't get paid anything. We
Yeah.
just brought our instruments, and that was performing
Didn't even get free
illegally.
drinks, right? Like still had to buy drinks from the bar, just hanging out with their friends playing music. And so we learned that.
A friend who was married to a Taiwanese musician or a Hong Kong musician who lives in Taiwan. Is that it's because I guess Filipino immigrants back in the day would come in and they would perform in Taiwan, and the perception of the locals was that they were taking jobs away from local Taiwanese, and that bar gigs should in fact be going to
Wow.
To
Taiwanese locals.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they clamped down with a bunch of very restrictive performance laws
And how hard is it? Did you guys try to get like a permit there? Or
I have tried applying for an actual artist visa, and it's very, very difficult to get. Like, there's only like 6 people that have, like, it was 6, the number might have changed, but there's only like 6 people that got this artist visa. The film one is like even harder.
Oh yeah. So the gold card is what Cory's talking about, which is like an open work permit, and you can get it for showing different accomplishments in different fields. So the only one I'm aware of that got passed out in film was for Stephen Chow, who is the filmmaker behind Shaolin Soccer and
dude, that's a
Kung
dope
Fu
ass
Hustle.
movie.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
So you gotta
two
be
dope-ass
on
movies.
that
Yes,
level
you
if
have
you
to
want to
be
get
that guy.
a film gold card at least. That's how good you have to be at
It was,
filmmaking.
and we knew nobody out of all the musicians we knew, even like really, really talented ones who worked as studio musicians who like applied for it, didn't get it.
Tony Parker might have had one
Tony Parker probably did.
because I think he was. I think because he won a Golden Melody.
I'm pretty sure he did.
Congratulations, Tony Parker.
Tony Parker,
Shout out
Golden
on
Melodies.
his
Good job.
podcast.
Fantastic at every instrument I've ever seen him play.
He's really good.
Like intimidating playing at jams with him. You're like, oh my god, I'm not good enough. And then you're just like, okay.
Golden Melody is the Taiwanese Grammys, by the way.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
the
shit.
Taiwanese Music Award.
It's the
Yeah.
Taiwanese Grammys.
So
yeah.
he came in and like a year after coming in, he won one of these with
No
I forget the
friggin'
other
way.
artist. He was
Is
one
he
of a couple.
sponsored by Roland?
Yeah, he works with Roland.
Yeah, he
I
works
think.
he works with
Shout out
Roland.
Roland. That's
Shout out Roland. Roland's good stuff.
yeah.
Give us things and
Uh,
sponsorships.
Please. And what were you guys doing before Taiwan? Like,
I was doing a little bit of freelance video work, and you
Oh,
were
nice.
doing
I was painting. Yeah, I was painting. I was teaching paint classes. I was out in Philly. Started like writing music just because a couple friends had access to a venue once a month to do an open jam. So like I would live paint, and then like we all just
Oh,
kind of
sick.
started just like working on music and stuff. Yeah, pretty much. Like I've just been painting. I lived on the East Coast for a super, super long time, so it's kind of nice to be out here now.
yeah.
Something different. I've been to California a couple times, but like living here this past month has been kind of nice. It's just really different. Like
Yeah.
I like being so close to the ocean.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, definitely.
I like
ocean
walking into a
breeze.
store and walking out with a bag of legal marijuana.
Uh-huh.
That's
Also nice.
lovely.
Wait, so is Taiwan? Is the weed there? Because I don't know if it's Taiwan.
It
if
is
you get,
bad and illegal.
if you get
I mean,
caught
it's bad
there-
weed and it is illegal.
So illegal.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's is it China or if you get caught with
China's the very bad. Taiwan's
it's
not.
like a death penalty, right? Or
Yeah.
something like that.
Malaysia's death penalty, but
Oh,
I
okay.
smoked weed in Malaysia because the people I hang out with was like, it's fine. I was like, okay, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure it's not, but if you say it's fine, then you live here, then let's do it.
The door gets kicked in. Ah.
I'm only here for 4 days. Oh my god, I'm just visiting. But yeah, in Taiwan, it was pretty.
You could get like a probation. I've known people who got caught with it in public and had a really annoying like probationary period with the law where they couldn't like get caught doing anything or get in any kind of legal trouble for like a year.
Or they couldn't leave for a couple of years.
Yeah,
One
they
of them,
couldn't leave.
they couldn't leave for a couple, at least like 3 years. Like
But it
they
was-
had to stay here.
It wasn't like any human rights. It wasn't China stuff or like Malaysian
Yeah.
stuff. They're not gonna kill you. It's
Yeah.
just really inconvenient to get caught with for like a while.
And if they
it's
want to deport you,
also
it's definitely a reason to
good
deport
reason to
you
deport
too.
you, and it's really bad and expensive weed. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vape cartridges was like the big thing towards the end, and those were what, like $150 for like 1 gram cartridge.
yeah, they were kinda
No.
pricey.
If you were
way.
lucky, you could get 2 weeks out of it. But if you smoked like a normal person, you'd be out in like a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too much.
So and then you were before Taiwan.
Before Taiwan, I was traveling with my family. My sister had
okay.
finished up college and had known a few people in a co-op who lived in different countries in Europe, and so she planned a trip to Europe and invited me along. I had a bit of cash at the time, and so I tagged along. And then while I was there, that ex I mentioned was getting a job, like a brief job in Hong Kong. So we met up in Hong Kong, and then later on traveled to Guangzhou. And so I lived for a little while in Hong Kong, a little while in Guangzhou, sort of backpacking, traveling before that, and then after that was Taiwan. And then just landed there for like a long time.
So you've
And-
always been in like traveling and just like backpack. Not always, but like
But a decent
yeah,
part of my
yeah.
last 4 or 5 years have been like traveling.
that's so sick. Yeah.
I've been lucky.
Yeah.
I'm a lucky guy.
Definitely want to travel more and see a lot of the world, because I feel like being like stuck in a city for a while, I don't know, seeing new things opens up your world.
It
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
broadens like your perspective, and you meet so many amazing people, which
Yeah.
is maybe the best part. The friends you make along the way.
It's also really humbling.
Hmm.
I think it's really humbling too, and like you learn a lot about how like people and everything just kind of runs off of each other just by bouncing. Especially like if you're in a place for a long time and you make like a foreigner community.
Yeah, if you can swing it time wise and money wise, it's definitely just a great lesson in being a human being. I think.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited about how close to Mexico we are because I've never been to Mexico or South America, and I'm like, oh, now I'm like closer to that, and I can go down to like Mexico because we went to San Diego last weekend with
like
John's
right there on the
sister
border,
Tess.
kinda.
This is for Tess. This is Tess's shout out.
Shout out Tess
Shout
as
out Tess.
required.
Shout out
and
Tess.
asked for.
Mandatory shout out. But when we went to San Diego last week, I was like, oh, Mexico's like right there. We're right there. I was like, that's awesome.
Like what part do you guys have an idea of? I mean, what
If we were in a car, we'd probably just have to go anywhere close to the border. Mexico City, if
That's
we could
where
get
I was
access
thinking.
to
There's
a plane,
Rosarito.
a flight. Rosarito.
yeah, it's like right kind of near the border as well,
Word.
Tijuana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rosarito's cool.
Rosarito's cool. It's
Okay.
it's like party, kind of like party vibes and
Okay.
stuff, but definitely very cool, very
Interesting.
I was
Yeah.
told Mexico City's really good for artists.
Cool.
And know people that are like claiming that they're going there at some point. So when they do get there, then I'll just be like, hey, guys, live on your couch. I want to come visit.
And were you here before in Ventura or
I was born in Ventura, actually.
born in Ventura, and then you
I'm
were
the,
on
I'm
the
the
East Coast?
local, and I was like, hey, we gotta land somewhere after getting out of Taiwan in a bit of a hurry. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's your experience here in Ayo! Who that? Oh, it's Hector. It's a Heck.
Oh, hi.
hello.
Hello.
Yo. Say what's up.
Howdy.
Hi. How are you? Long time no see. How you been?
Yeah, just give me a fist bump. I'm like trapped behind all this cabling.
We live. Say what's up.
He's
Say
got me
what's up,
harnessed
Hector.
in here.
Hi.
Hey Hector, I have the rough job, dude, for the video. I gotta show you. Yeah.
Making a music video?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So we're filming Monday actually. We filmed Monday for the song "Divide and Conquer," which is gonna be on my album December, dropping
Cool.
December. Yeah.
Sweet.
Super excited for that. Yeah, we'll show you guys after.
Word.
Yeah.
No, being in California is cool. I was born in Ohio and I lived there until I was 22, and then I moved to Philly and I was there until I moved to Taiwan. Like I traveled around when I was in Philly. I actually worked for a company based in LA called Raw Natural Born Artists, and my job was to produce and direct art shows around the U.S. So I traveled for like
Oh shit.
I don't know 3.5 years, kind of going around doing these like art shows throughout the states, and I was based in Philly. But being back here is cool. Like being back in the States is a lot like.
Reverse culture shock.
It is, but it's better than I expected. Except for like I did feel kind of depressed for a little bit, but like I'm pulling out of it. Like kind of had a bad mental health week last week, but got to go to San Diego, hang out with friends, and like that was super nice. So like kind of
That's good.
better spirits. But yeah, it's definitely a huge contrast than being on the East Coast. Like I don't like cold, so I like this. This
Yeah.
is nice. I can just go outside. Like I went on a long bike ride today, and I was like, oh, I'm like hot, but not like feeling like sticky, or like being in Taiwan was just like super humid all the
Humid.
time. Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
100 degrees.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was so winter and summer were brutal for opposite reasons.
Uh-huh.
It was just biting cold or just like the worst humidity, and then like I guess the fall and the spring feel kind of like a Ventura or like a SoCal summer. It was nice temperature then,
Nice.
and then just half the year it's horrifying.
Yeah, it's too
You guys
hot.
get like was it like monsoon season over there?
Oh, the typhoons.
Yeah,
I guess.
typhoons?
I forget. It's like quadrants of the Earth or something. But
Yeah.
it's like a hurricane it's over here, so it's a hurricane, and it's over here, so it's a monsoon, and here it's a typhoon.
It's a typhoon.
Typhoon.
in Taiwan,
okay.
they're typhoons, but we would call
Oh,
hurricanes out here in a different like hemisphere and
Yeah.
polar spot. But yeah, they get them pretty frequently out there.
Oh, shit.
And you just like all the windows are made for it. You lock up. They say don't go to school, don't go to work. It's typhoon warning. Everyone stay inside.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And earthquakes, bad earthquakes.
They get typhooned in.
And
Typhooned in.
so their
Yeah.
buildings are not particularly like built for earthquakes.
Yeah.
The like all of the man-made structures, or many of the man-made structures out there, are not particularly old. Modern Taiwan kind of came out of the ashes of the old government of China after World War II when the People's Republic took
wow.
over. So the current the current Chinese government relocated.
Yeah.
The Kuomintang relocated to Taiwan and set up a new government, and so that's why it says was a Republic of something of China on the passport.
Republic of China, yeah.
On the passport. So there's the Republic of China and the People's Republic of China.
ROC.
So the ROC is the Kuomintang, which is like the old Chiang Kai-shek. It's like the old government of China. People's Republic was the communist uprising led by Mao.
Okay.
And so they kind of fled in a hurry.
Yeah.
And I don't think they were planning on staying that long necessarily. They kind of thought they would get their government back on mainland.
Yeah.
And so I don't think a lot of the buildings there were made to last. So the construction techniques used are not necessarily for like earthquake-proofing houses.
Yeah.
And a lot of the houses are not that old, but they're starting to like show a little wear from not being like up to earthquake code, for instance.
Oh shit! So there are earthquakes there.
Oh yeah.
Anytime, yeah.
Like right
Wow.
before we left, there was like 3 within a 12-hour span, and like all of the walls in his apartment, all of the
Cracks in
plaster
every
just started cracking. Like
At least
then
the
I,
paint, at least. I don't know if it was the walls.
I don't know the
it wasn't
paint,
structural.
but I was just remembering the next day being like, that was not
That's
like
a new
this
one.
yesterday,
one.
was it? And we like looked around the apartment, and we're like, that one crack's kind of close to where the TV's hanging.
really
Let's-
feel them too. If you're like up high in a building, the whole building will shake because
Yeah.
it's not like it's
Oh,
not
it's like
rubbery
it'll
at all. It's
wobble
not
and shit?
flexible. It's
Yeah.
just
Oh
like
my
stiff,
God.
so it'll wobble a whole lot more.
And you're like,
dude.
one time I thought it was my roommate's dog. You know how like when a dog scratches, it like
Oh, yeah,
shakes.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember
Piku.
feeling it on the couch, and I was like, Piku, what? Oh, that's an earthquake. You're not on the couch. Okay, just sit it and ride it
Just
out.
hold still.
I would like to look at a map just to like get my geography right, because Taiwan.
Taiwan is kind of like a long oval in a very rough approximation. Just
Yeah.
Like
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Like the bottom of China.
yeah. So the south is Tainan, which used to be the capital, and
Uh-huh.
the north is
Oh.
Taipei, which is the current capital.
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah.
And there's there's a handful of major cities and lots of smaller towns around it. Beautiful, beautiful island.
Yeah, it's
really,
really
really
nice.
lovely.
It looks
Scooter.
like a kind of small. No, not
Oh,
really
it's-
small, but like.
It's
you
decently
could
small.
drive the whole thing. Probably
like,
would it
2
take a
weeks or
day?
something?
You think 2 weeks?
Well, like I've heard people take 2 weeks.
Let's
to do
let's
it.
say you wanna circle the island on a car.
probably a day.
Like if you were committed
A
to
day.
it, you could probably drive around
A
the thing in a
full
day. or
24
two.
hours. Yeah.
Start up at Baichuan and just
Yeah,
go all the way,
right.
because there's like highways, right? You can do it. You can go all the way
That would
around,
make for a great YouTube video.
right?
Driving around Taiwan.
Driving
Yeah.
around Taiwan.
24
Some
hours.
of the coastal cities there are like really cool. Like we did like a small tour back in October. We have our band was called All My Boyfriends. And then John and I would do an electronic project, which like we're working on here. It's called Parliament of Owls, and we also did like I called it a cover band of All My Boyfriend songs. It was like jazzier versions of our own songs, and
That's
it's
so cool.
yeah, so it was us and our
Yeah.
other guitar player, Axel Kirsch, who was just like this insane bossa nova jazz head.
Shout out.
Shout out Axel, Mr. Bamboo Stick. I miss you. But
Mr. Bamboo.
Mr. Bamboo
Right? Is
Stick.
that good?
It's great. Mr. Bamboo Stick. Find him on Instagram. He's great. He's that guy that's in like 15 bands because he's so good. Like
Everybody wants him.
he stepped in for a bit while like John was away a couple summers ago, and when he came back, John and I both looked at each other. We're like, he's gonna stay in the band too.
We're keeping him.
We're keeping him. He's valuable and fantastic.
For sure.
Yeah.
So the other, the political climate of Taiwan at all?
I don't know, like,
nobody
please.
really does. I
Yeah.
didn't either before
Yeah.
going there, and it's kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
It is, according to the Chinese government, not a separate country.
No.
So it's still under the the Chinese Communist.
There is no legal claim or no political claim, no real claim, I guess, at all that modern China has to Taiwan.
Well,
And
isn't that sorry to cut you
China
off?
disagrees, and Chinese citizens at large disagree.
Isn't that what the U.S. and China are kind of like battling over territory for
Somewhat,
Taiwan?
because Taiwan is in the Pacific Ocean, and
Right.
the U.S. has a very long-standing vested interest in things that go on in the Pacific Ocean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the U.S. wants to be in charge of all that.
Yeah.
So that is a sticking point. Also, the Taiwanese semiconductor industry is very, very prominent.
Yeah.
Like computer chips and stuff, and so they make a lot of like military chips. They make a lot of
Yeah.
like Nvidia's out there, like the graphics
Oh
card
shit!
company.
Yeah.
So they're a bit of a strategic component for semiconductor production also. China insists that Taiwan is rightfully theirs, and so China will use, tools and media and whatever to basically enforce where it can. So sometimes it won't show up at things like the Olympics, or like I had a friend who worked with a robotics team, and when they went to do an international robotics competition, they weren't allowed to like call themselves Taiwan or like have a Taiwanese flag or something like that. There was like, so China uses its influence to try to make other people pretend like Taiwan is not a country.
Yeah.
But it's got its own government, it's got its own currency, it's got its own constitution.
Yeah.
That reminds me of John Cena when they said that. Was it Taiwan?
Oh my God.
I remember that.
Yeah, Taiwan is not a country. I apologize.
What were some of the?
Oh my God! And then there was what were some?
Exactly, because
What
I
was
guess
the
there's a huge
interview with
WWE
him?
presence over in China.
Yeah.
There's a lot of WWE
He
fans in
speaks
China.
fluent Mandarin,
Yeah.
and it's
I love
good. His Mandarin is good. There was what were we watching something about where he wasn't a spokesperson for this hot sauce, but he was like going apeshit over this hot sauce.
Yeah, he was doing it in Mandarin.
Erica told me the name of the hot sauce. It's really famous. I forgot what it's called, but he was just like the whole time just like talking about it, just like picking up this bottle of hot sauce in Mandarin. In perfect, there were English subtitles. Like his, and like my Mandarin is hi how. It's okay to the point where like I didn't study, but like his was really good, and I was just like, John Cena speaks Chinese. Okay.
Yeah.
Taiwan is a
Interesting.
country, John Cena. Fight me.
That's why you're naming your album that.
That's a song title. Oh my God! But yeah, so this just the divide between, I guess, China and Taiwan.
Well,
is that
so it post World War II, China got, because China somehow they were involved with the Allies. I don't know if they were part of the Allied power, but they were against Japan. So Japan's on the Axis side, and so China helps out because that's against the Japanese, and China was all for that. The actual People's Uprising, so the modern Taiwanese government, the People's Republic of China, I think happened shortly after World War II. And so Taiwan changed hands from Japanese control to Chinese control as sort of a reward after the end of World War II, I guess.
Yeah.
Because Japan had to surrender unconditionally post World War II, right? After the atom bomb dropped.
Yeah.
So Japan loses Taiwan, one of its territories. China gains Taiwan, and then after China gets Taiwan, there's a communist revolution, and they take over the government, and all the wealthy and powerful in China at the time don't want to be around when you're having a communist revolution. You don't want to be near a communist revolution if you're a rich person or a powerful person.
It's mine.
You leave so they don't
Yeah.
chop your head off, like
Yeah.
guillotine French style. And so the people of China, the wealthy and powerful of China, left to Taiwan. And brought a lot of artifacts with them, right? Brought a lot of like cultural wealth, so you can find a lot of really, really like extensive museums in Taiwan with a lot of old Chinese artifacts
A lot
and
of
stuff
Qing Dynasty
that
stuff
people
is
brought along with them.
still around it. You can still see.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really, and a lot of the traditions, right? And like food and clothing and like, yeah. So, but like in Taiwan, they don't use simplified. For when they write Mandarin, they use traditional characters. So they have like it's the same Mandarin, but it's written slightly different. It's more, the writing is more intricate because they use the traditional characters instead of like the simplified. So it's kind of interesting.
So they kind of kept that culture. That.
Yeah.
It's like
How
if you
long's
wanna see parts of Chinese culture without having to visit a country like China and with sort of vaguely Chinese cultural traditions.
And not have to go to China.
And not have to deal with an authoritarian government or they watch you closely when you visit.
Social credit score.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All the dystopian stuff. If you want to be around that, go to Taiwan.
You got to use Bing. You can't use Google for anything.
No way.
Yeah.
Did they ban that? Did they ban that?
They banned a lot of stuff.
A lot. Facebook, can't use Facebook, can't use
The
Instagram.
Great Firewall of China. They call
You're
it.
basically like Dad if you go there. Your mom will
you're-
not be able to get a hold of you, and she will be very upset.
That's crazy. That social credit score, where if you mess up or you jaywalk, they have what is it? The AI that can detect your face, and then they could knock you down with a social credit score, and then you can't travel or you can't take a train or something like that.
That's insanity.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Black Mirror shit.
It is. It's Black Mirror shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't do too well. My social credit score would be really low in China. They'd be like, you have to get out. You're not welcome.
Oh. Yeah, and all that stuff with the Uyghur Muslims too. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, all of that
Yeah.
stuff is like.
And it's like that's actually happening in in 2021. It's
I
like,
think-
holy shit.
I think living in Taiwan might have been where I learned about that in the first place.
Same.
They had, I don't know if it was for Uyghurs, but they had like protests and stuff outside of a lot of common like train stations
Yeah.
for the Falun Gong, which is
Falun Gong.
in China at least is a religious minority that they're also accused of scooping up and putting in camps and getting forcible organ transplants done and stuff on that.
Yeah.
And then after, so I saw these signs. I saw these people outside of like, she meant like a common shopping area in Taiwan, and they had signs that said, forced organ plants for Falun Gong in China. And I'm like, what? Who are the Falun Gong and what?
God.
So I go up and read up
Like,
more
aren't
about
you
it.
the
And after
people
like
that
reading
put on
that, I
that
think
way?
I found out about the Uyghur stuff a few years ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I think like some people would even like go to China just to get like organ transplants because it's abundant over there.
You can find a lot of stuff in China.
Yeah.
When I was there, I was in Guangzhou, and
Yeah.
at one point, I asked the cab driver, like what's a Chinese cuisine like delicacy? What's a food delicacy that I could eat?
Uh-huh.
What's like an essential Chinese thing that you have to eat if you're going to experience Chinese food? And he's like, you can get anything if you have the money for it. I know a guy who can find a tiger.
Oh my god, dude.
You're like,
No thanks. I don't think I could afford it, and I don't want to.
yeah, right? Like, yeah. That's funny.
Shit, a freaking tiger.
You eat a
So,
tiger.
That's what the cab driver told me. I can't
tiger's
verify.
blood. Yeah.
Right, you're like, was that guy fucking with me?
I don't know how to fuck with
Because
the
that's
foreigners.
like, that's a
It's
weird,
classic hobby.
right? Like, that's like a thing you experience is like, not people like blatantly fucking with you, but if they wanted to, because you're a foreigner, they could,
Tell you
right?
wrong
Could,
words,
definitely.
right?
Tell you
Like the
wrong
wrong
words.
translations from in their native tongue.
Yeah,
It's like,
so then you go
"How do you
around
say
saying
this?"
something and looking like a complete asshole. Yeah, and you're like, but someone taught me how to say it. And
Oh,
you're like,
I remember who told me that.
Yeah.
You could totally do something like
then you're
that.
like, ah, shit, damn it. Or just learn to swear in the new language. My swearing in Chinese is pretty good. It's
Lots of
not-
practice.
Lots of practice.
Lots of practice.
Lots of practice. Biking around screaming at people. No.
Were there any instances of like you said, people trying to like screw you guys over, like just because you guys were foreigners and stuff, or no?
I experienced it in China. Never in Taiwan. Taiwan is.
Yeah, Taiwan, it was never.
I've known like one or two people who had like a phone lifted or something like that, but it was at a place where it could have been a foreigner.
Yeah, I had a phone stolen, but that's, that was about it. It was just kind of like in an area where it was sitting on the table behind me, like in like an open kind of like outside area, and somebody came up and just like swiped it. But
generally speaking, Taiwan is remarkably safe
Yeah.
for an industrialized country. It's
yeah, you could like leave your stuff in the middle of the park and like
yeah,
go to the
it's
bathroom
safer than
and
America
come back.
in
Oh, wow.
in many
Yeah.
places, right? Like it's got like sort of small town safety levels. You
I
can
went-
walk through like dark alleys basically if you're a woman going home from a bar. And when I ask female friends of mine, they'll say like I don't worry when I walk home
Yeah,
at
they-
4 a.m. in Taiwan.
Interesting.
Yeah, you don't feel like.
You know,
I don't know. It feels safer. Yeah, I saw somebody one time like drying off a bunch of $1,000 NT bills. Like they had them just like draping over a bench.
It's the
like,
largest
by a-
denomination you can have, the largest like common denomination that people
Yeah,
carry
they were
around.
just draping. I remember I was walking with my friend Amy, and she's like, "This lady does this like every week. I think she accidentally washes her money.
dries it outside.
Yeah, she's like, I think
in
she
public.
accidentally washes it when she leaves it in her pocket or something. But I always see her money out. And she's like, I also think she's trying to like test me.
just quick flex, real quick.
Yeah, just like she takes all of her money. And she's like, why is your money wet? Are you washing your money? You have to dry it. I
a
once
good luck
saw
thing.
Yeah.
somebody was like, the way that the
She's a money launderer.
Hey! The way the sidewalks worked, it was like the sidewalks, and you could like park your scooter, and then it was like walk, and then like there would be like a building, and there'd be another sidewalk that would be covered, so like when it rained, and then you'd be like the storefronts. So like I was walking down the sidewalk one time, and there was a woman who was like at a stall at a storefront, like getting something to eat, and her like Louis Vuitton purse was just sitting wide open on her scooter. And it's like nobody messed with it. She was just like ordering some drinks or something to take home, and just like her bag was sitting right. She just like walked over, grabbed her money out of her wallet, and like walked back over. Didn't even take the whole bag. Just like walked back over to the cashier. No, this is like.
I've left like phones, bags, wallets, personally all over
Oh,
the place
yeah.
and gone back for them, and there they were,
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
fine and safe.
My
Cool,
one
cool.
friend said there was a laptop sitting in a backpack at a park by his house, and it was there for a week.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
he said it was there for a week. So he's like, I don't know if the owner came back for it, if like an official took, like an authority took it, or if like somebody finally just swiped it because it was sitting there for a week, and they're like, okay, no one's coming back for it, and they
Yeah.
took it.
You guys ever go to Japan or anything like that?
I
have
went
not.
to Okinawa, for
Okinawa?
a couple of visa runs a few times.
Cool.
I had a fun time. I like Okinawa a lot. I want to go back for like Tokyo.
For sure. Tokyo would be fun.
Yeah, for
I want
sure.
to go to Tokyo.
But yeah, I had a good experience in Japan.
Oh.
I didn't stay there long enough to though, like make local friends or like really get integrated with any kind of foreigner community out there. But it's lovely. Recommended.
One of the little gems I really liked about Southeast Asia was Kuala Lumpur.
What is that?
It's in Malaysia. I think it's the capital city of Malaysia. I'm not very good with geography, but it's a really cool place. Like I was really, really surprised because it's got a lot of like touristy things around, and I accidentally like booked my stay in like a super tourist area, and I was like, if this entire city is a giant mall, I'm gonna be really fucking pissed. But then like I found a venue to play at, and I played at some open mics, and they made some friends, and just like they were like, oh, come to this show with us, come to this thing with us, and I was like, oh, this is one of those places that's like, yeah, they're like they want to draw in tourists because that's like the industry, but like that stuff sucks. You need to find the local people and just like hang out with them, and they'll take you to like really cool like little rooftop like makeshift mom and pop
So cool.
venues, and
Yeah.
like they're like, okay, this is so much cooler.
Yeah.
So like Kuala Lumpur is one of my favorite places in Southeast Asia, but I still love Thailand a lot. I want to go back to Thailand.
Now, how big is karaoke in Southeast Asia?
Huge in Taiwan.
Taiwan, it's
Is it Taiwan?
insane. Yeah, it's everywhere. Like they're 24 hours. You can just walk into a
Huge
little
buildings.
booth.
You can find like hotel-sized buildings where they just instead of hotel rooms, it's like
Karaoke
karaoke
rooms.
rooms.
There's even little booths that like they look like little telephone booths that you can go in and just like put some money in and just pick a song or two and just sit
On
there
the
by
go.
yourself like and practice. Like say you're gonna go to KTV with your friends or coworkers, like you need to practice your song. You can go into these little booths and do it. So like Carrefour is like there for, I would compare it to like Target. It's like a French company, but it's like a big box store, kind of like,
Or like
a
a
Target.
Costco kind of.
Like a Costco, but some of them had like a little personal karaoke booth like in the lobby. You could go get like fresh orange juice from a machine and then like sing karaoke, and then you can go up and do your grocery shopping and then like get sushi on the way out, like stuff like that. It was kind of wild.
That's cool.
Vietnam was cool too. I went to Ho Chi Minh for a week for my birthday a couple of years ago, and that was awesome. I went by myself and ended up accidentally running into a bunch of friends who were there at the same time. So
That's
that turned out really cool.
So cool.
But then I pissed off to the jungle. I got onto one of those like $10 tours where it's like they take you through the Mekong River, and it's like you're supposed to stay with the group the whole time. I just like got on a bicycle and just like rode around
Right.
this like river island and came back, and they're like, "Where's your group?" And I'm like, "I don't know. They went somewhere else." They're like, "Get on this boat, go with those people. You're gonna go back to your bus and wait." And I was like, "Good," because I'm tired. I just like went back and took a nap. And they came back. Everyone was really pissed at me.
Yeah.
They're like, "You can't just wander around." I was like, "I was fine. I was biking. It was more fun."
And did.
Huh?
Can and did.
I did, yeah. I ate a bunch of coconut candy. I drank some snake wine. It was really fun.
Snake wine, coconuts.
Yeah, it was great. It was fun. And then I got to take a nap on the bus. Everybody
And-
came back. We went and ate.
Well, at least I've heard in like the Philippines, R&B is really big. What was there like a certain like?
The most I could comment on, because I didn't go to, I don't think it was like a day or two trip when I went to the Philippines. It wasn't very long at all. But I have heard of the My Way killings, which is, I think Wikipedia calls it a social phenomenon,
Yeah.
where there is a statistically unusual number of murders that have taken place in the Philippines
Jeez.
because of bad karaoke renditions of Frank Sinatra's My Way.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's really weird.
So like there's it might be in the dozens, but there's a handful of murders that people just got very upset with some person at a bar because they were singing Mad Way very poor or
They
My Way
must
very poorly.
really like Frank Sinatra over there.
But as for R&B, I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We knew that one guy. Who was he from the Philippines? The bass player who played with Branden?
Oh,
Or am I misremembering where he was from?
I forget. Oh, I think where was he from? Singapore, I think.
Oh, maybe not.
May have been Singapore or the
Imagine,
Philippines. He's
imagine
really
the guy just like about to perform that song. Like,
Indonesia. He's from Indonesia.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
Sorry.
it's like imagine the person about to perform that song. He's like, damn, I have to freaking.
My life is on the line.
Yeah, my life
Or
is
just
on
pick
the
a
line.
different
This could be my last song.
Frank Sinatra
My
has
final
a
goodbye.
huge...
Oh my god.
Consider this my swan
How
song.
appropriate is that? I say goodbye, and then you die. Somebody shoots you because you hit the wrong note.
That dude did it his way.
He did
Went
it his
out
way.
doing it his
Bang,
way.
bang. But Frank Sinatra has a huge catalog. Don't you think you would pick something else
He's
if
only
you
got
knew?
one my way.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Just saying. But like in Taiwan, I got into shoegaze.
When
Kind
was this?
Well, when I was in Taiwan, I really liked
Okay, I
shoegaze.
remember that.
I thought it was cool. Like a lot of those bands that we played with, like
Oh,
the
that
band-
kind of shoegaze.
Yeah, that kind of
like
shoegaze.
playing with shoegaze artists. Yeah.
No, yeah, like playing with
So you were like,
shoegaze
I was on a
was-
shoegaze listening camp.
No, I was a drummer in a shoegaze band for 2 weeks, and then I got told I was too bossy, and they kicked me out.
Sounds right.
So then I
Sounds
started my
accurate.
own band. The drummer's not allowed to be that bossy. I'm the drummer. I'm supposed to keep time. Anyways, no, but shoegaze was really big in Taipei. A lot of people like shoegaze. What other styles were really big there?
I've
Lots
never
of
been in
stuff.
a noise music scene that
Yeah.
was quite as enthusiastic as Taiwan, and it wasn't huge, right? It's noise music, but there was a pretty healthy noise music scene out there.
Yeah, there
Noise
was
music like
commu-
EDM and stuff? Or
No, like
like
slamming.
not really any like
chains
rhythms
onto
or
a
harmonies or
drum.
stuff. It's like
Yeah.
sort of a performance art, right?
Yeah.
They, like make as many weird sounds or less about like rhythm or tune or like melody or stuff, and you just make craziness. As
Yeah,
much as
like we
possible.
did a project with a buddy who was like a violin player, so he would run through a lot of distortion pedals, and like John would have his different like synths that he would use.
Little modular rig, knob twisting and shit.
modular
Yeah.
rigs and like self-oscillating synths, and then like I would do stuff with a looper, and I had a vocal transformer, so I could do like looping and like Gregorian trance, but then like spin it backwards, and
It's like jamming if there's no wrong answers to
yeah.
anything.
It's the
So
most
cool.
therapeutic music you can make because you can't fuck it up. So if you're performing, it's just like there's no way to do it wrong because like it's noise music, right? If you really do something offensive, then yeah, people will go outside. Like something
it's
that's
like you would have to try to be.
A lot of people do. A lot
Yeah.
of people
Oh,
are
yeah?
really into
There
like
are-
being as abrasive as possible. They're like, we don't want this to be the anti-commercial. We want it's like full on like punk
We want
kind of.
your
We want
hair
no
to
one to
fall
like
off.
this. We want
Yeah.
to hurt your ears. kind of
your
stuff.
contacts will fly out of your eyes. Like they do stuff like that, but like it's just
And
really
there's like a
therapeutic.
there's like a fan community for this, right? So that's the
Yeah.
other interesting thing about it. When we did noise music stuff, is the people who come out to see those shows are always like the most intent about it and really
So
like they're sitting
into
there
it.
like
Like,
really
Analyzing.
yeah exactly
Yeah, and they know labels, like right. They're like, I know this label in Boston, and you're like, okay.
played with such and such
Yeah,
because it's a
you're-
really small like
Yeah.
global community of
You're like,
noisemakers.
cool. My friend asked me if I wanted to do this, and I wanted to scream into a microphone because I was having a bad week. But yeah, this is fun. Like noise music's great.
That sounds. It sounds really fun.
It is. You just sit there just screaming, and like it doesn't matter because then you like flip it in reverse, and then you turn the volume down on the loop, and you put another one on, and you're just like, okay, cool, I can just go. And then you have your instrument that you build out of your own voice.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be in key. Doesn't have to be any like you don't have to set scales. You just make sounds.
Sounds.
Just clap into the microphone, or sometimes I'd go up to people in the audience and just like ask them really horrible questions and just like loop that around. When we started
Sample
doing
that.
our electronic project, we wanted to do like it. What we were doing was like improvise, so it was like we'd have like some kind of rig set up, but he would be able to do a lot of synth work, and I would sing with the vocal transformer, and we would just like I wouldn't have any written lyrics. We would just do like a lot of improvisation. For some reason, every show, our friends thought it was like a free-for-all hour, and they would just come and like
We let
push
them
me
do it.
off the mic or just start like touching his equipment. We're like, guys, this is our show, and they thought it was just like us just hanging out
Yeah.
at this bar
Because
so
it
they
was
could
kind of
come
born out of the
hang
noise project. We were doing a lot of like weird noisy drums and a lot of weird watery sounds, and then like I would accidentally put drums underneath it, and it would sound out like this is something.
Do you
I'll
guys
listen
have
to.
like stuff compiled, like a
Um,
like something like a project out of that? Or
not
you
other
guys-
noise stuff? I don't think
No?
any of it got. Did
No.
Robert record any of it?
I don't know, but that was
It was
cool.
mostly for like personal
like just-
satisfaction.
Yeah,
it was just
like
fun.
it wasn't like
cool.
something I wanted to show someone necessarily. It was like I like this sound right now,
That's
Yeah.
but
cool.
it's not like
And like the nights were nice. It was like they would do it like
It's-
yeah, a nice
Tuesday
little
a month.
crowd.
And,
You
like,
know,
the
people are
were
all really
cool.
nerdy and awesome.
It sounds like a fun night just
Yeah, you
out
would just
having
do it
fun.
for fun.
Yeah.
Like you didn't get paid. Like we barely got a free drink for it.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'd consider myself like proud of any of the noise stuff in the sense that I wouldn't like bring that to someone and say like, this is what I'm about musically.
Right,
Like,
same.
check this out. This is what I
I
sound
don't
like.
think we have any of that recorded.
Yeah, because I never thought of it that way.
No,
I
me
just thought of it
either.
as like
'Cause-
jamming, but sort of abstracted away from
Yeah,
the
just-
context of harmony.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just barely hearing it like right now, it's like I've never heard anything like that, and it's like it would even be cool just to hear it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like
Well, the way that like the
that's
electronic
how I see it.
stuff that we do now started is like we were practicing like for one of the noise things, and I accidentally hit like a channel on the looper that was like higher up that I didn't know had like a drum pattern on it, and he was playing some weird like watery sounds on one of his synths, and then he was like, wait a second, he's like, do you remember what you just hit? I was like, I think it was like preset 14, and we went back to it, and we're like, oh, this is kind of cool, these weird like strange unconventional sounds under like really steady beats. So then he just kind of like started putting it together with the MPC.
So that's my
Wow.
current musical ethos is weird sounds with a drum beat underneath.
Cool.
It's
Cool.
fun.
Cool.
That's what I make now.
Yeah, so that's like what we were doing. So when we started doing that project in Taiwan, that was when our friends would come to the show and just take over and do stuff with it, and it works. So like now we're trying to perform again, but it's like we don't have any recorded content from that time because it was just all like no, it was great stuff, and I don't want to say nonsense, but it was all just like improvisation, and it was meant to be improvisation at the time. So it was like
Well, because all of a sudden we
capture
found
it.
ourselves, we went from playing in a band situation
Yeah.
with a 5-piece or a 3-piece if we were doing a jazz gig, where we had like 20-some songs written, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Lots of songs that
20
we can pull
something.
from.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But when it came time to do this sort of weird improvised synthy electronic thing with vocals, we found ourselves filling in for like DJs or like sliding into slots that would normally go to DJs.
Yeah.
Like doing open deck nights, for instance, at like a local bar.
Okay. So it's like
And-
more like not live stuff. It's more
It's
Right.
longer.
long.
It's like-
It's a lot longer.
Didn't we play for 4 hours the last
DJ
time we
sets
did it?
typically run like 2, 3, 4 hours instead of like if you're at a 2-hour set with a live band.
You're
That's
done.
that's basically maximum. That's kind of the longest show you're gonna see any even like professional artist
Yeah.
who does it every day kind of do. 2 hours is a long fucking time to be playing an instrument.
yeah.
Yeah, it is.
DJs will do like 2, 3, 4 hours, and so we're up there. I'm trying
Turning
to like,
knobs, dude.
Yeah, but
I'm
You
just
see
kidding.
your friend walk in,
I'm
and it's
joking.
like you push away from the microphone, and you're like, "Can you go get me something to eat?" You're like, "I'm so hungry. Can you get me noodles?" Like, I've been up here for hours, and you just keep going. So I guess sometimes having the friends would be nice because you're like, "I have to pee," and you just like throw your friend on the
Cover me.
microphone,
Tag me in.
and then you come back and hope one of them didn't dump beer all over the equipment, type of thing.
yeah, we were trying to do like an original project in like a DJ slot, and basically we just had to improvise with like synths and drum machines for hours and hours.
Yeah.
So
shit.
now the goal is to have some finished songs.
So
actually.
now we're
Is that what you guys
actually-
are on right now?
Yes.
It's like, yeah.
Well, that's
So-
because I like the sound and it's more self-contained. It's less. You don't need a drummer, which tracking drums can be a bit of a pain.
Yeah.
And you don't need to plan around a bunch of schedules. You can do it with fewer people. But
Yeah.
electronics and vocals is what we're trying to record right now.
So yeah, we're trying to
Significantly
get
easier.
some stuff recorded because we want to start playing more. So, and of course you need to have something to show
Yeah.
when you do that. So like we have a SoundCloud for the band that has some stuff on it.
What's a SoundCloud?
It's All My Boyfriends with a Z.
That's the old band back in Taiwan.
That's the old
Okay.
band
But it's
back
not,
in Taiwan.
not a lot of great stuff on there.
Not a lot of good recordings because we were so focused on performing since we could for a while. So like, you know, any footage of that is just like somebody took it on their phone type of thing, or it was like a stream that the venue did during it. And then the project we're working on now is Parliament of Owls, and it's experimental dance music,
Called it Folktronica or something. I forget the
Folktronica.
other one.
Yeah, so we're starting to get that stuff done. So we actually have what, 3 songs almost finished?
3-ish. Yeah.
So when you guys performed at Birch Studio,
Right.
was that one of
That
your
was
guys'
one of the
songs?
Parliament of Owls songs. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a
Okay.
brand new one.
That was
Ah,
the first one we
okay.
got done. Because I'd sort of been, after deciding I was going to leave Taiwan, there was about a month where I just had like...
Shout out Aaron.
Shout out Aaron
Aaron
Birch.
Birch. There was about a month where I just had a kind of creative explosion because I was holed up in my house and just not really doing anything else.
Uh-huh.
And so I got like maybe 5 or 6 or so songs written.
Yeah.
But that's just like for solo stuff. I wanted a snapshot of that time in Taiwan. Since I knew I was leaving, I wanted a piece of art that was representative of like different events there, or different memories there, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I finished
Yep.
what I think is the last one of the songs for that project, slightly after getting home, and then we started on.
now for that one.
Huh?
You have 3 out now for that one on your
Yeah,
SoundCloud? Yeah.
3 Up. That's just John Franco on SoundCloud. But I want to put them all together and put them on Spotify.
Yeah.
That's the respectable man's
Respectable
website.
man's website. Gotta get on the Spotify. So
Apple Music.
So
Yep.
like one of the last weekends that we were in Taiwan, it was one of those things where it was like 4 a.m. and we were listening to that podcast called Song Exploder. Do you know that one?
No.
It's where they talk to artists about different songs. It's like
Yeah, how'd you make it? You know, what was
How'd
going
you
on
make
all the
it?
time.
Yeah,
Like,
and,
they
like-
show different parts in isolation.
yeah, and they like dissect
And then
it.
they play it in its entirety at the very end.
That's so
and talk to
freaking
the artist.
cool.
It's
a
really cool.
concept.
It's kind of like a Guy Faraz on NPR. It's like how you made it.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
talk about business people, like business. Like how you
Right. So
make it.
it's
Yeah.
like that with songs. And there was like a short-lived Netflix version of it too, right?
Yeah, there's a couple episodes, like
5
4
or
or 5.
6. Yeah.
Oh, is that? I think Logic had one of those.
I think
I don't know if it was a Netflix one, but he might have had one on the podcast.
Yeah, I forget. I remember we listened to the Bjork one, the Brandy Carly one. We watched the Johnny Cash one. Well, 9 Inch Nails. Hurt. And then so we were watching and listening to this podcast for hours, and then like it was like 4 a.m. and he just like sits down on the keyboard and I just start singing and like recorded it on my phone because it's like
2
I don't know.
chords.
Yeah, 2 chords. I didn't know what I was saying. Like at that point, you're just saying stuff. And then when we got back, we just kind of like he threw that into the MPC, and I sat there and like listened to the recording, and I was like, oh, there's some good words in here, and actually like came up with some lyrics for it. So it's kind of like for me, the lyrics in that song are about staying hopeful and like embracing change because it like started right as like everything was ending there and like new things were starting here. Like there's a line in the song, the sky stays blue no matter how down you fall. So like no matter what, like the sky is still blue, right? Like you can get up, you can keep going, and like you can just keep like being optimistic or just like keep working towards it, and it's like it's kind of like it will be okay. It's kind of the sentiment of that.
Yeah. Awesome.
We can play that if there's inputs on this thing. I've got the...
We do have inputs.
Yeah, you did bring
we
the
could play that
MPC
one.
with
We
you.
have a demo vocal track, but I still have to put... the one thing missing is vocals, and well, there's a couple vocal things. The vocal's bad. I need to redo it.
Yeah, we need to redo the vocals.
And there's going to be a guitar solo and like a few guitar parts. But aside from that, it's basically finished.
So how would we set that up?
I have line outputs.
Line outputs, and then I could just like.
Yeah, if that works for you.
GarageBand, so.
Anything with
I don't know,
through.
like-
I also have aux, if that's better.
Or do you have like some sort of?
I'm going to use this time to take a bathroom break.
Alright.
I'll be back. I've been chugging liquid since we left the house.
All right, we'll get this set up.
All right. Do you edit the footage later on to make us look like we just did it in a hurry?
Actually, I just keep it rolling.
Oh, okay, word.
Less editing.
Fair enough. Yeah, I need to pull away from this.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. New audio track, and then
Shit.
you're good. No worries.
That is for the TV.
No worries. Oh, okay. I think we're good. you gotta.
Yep, we gotta
You gotta do some crawling. All right. So what are you using just for the people that are listening right now or and watching?
It's a gold Akai MPC.
Nice.
It's a sampler,
Yeah.
or originally it's a sampler, but okay, I have a left and a right.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is the song you guys played, right?
Yeah, this is when we did it at Bird Studios.
It's coming through. I don't think it's tracking though.
No.
Interesting.
I gotta stop now.
The soccer sounds are great.
More volume.
Yes.
Really great.
Yeah.
That sounds nice.
Okay. It might get loud at some parts. So
No worries.
this is-
All good. All good. All good.
You can always bump it down later.
Can you get by? Okay. explosive break. For I am from this earth, I give it all for this. I give it all for this. The sky stays blue, no matter how down you fall. The world is turning, but you can hold your head up tall. And so we go down again, and we go down again, and we have no end.
Cool.
The ground is moving down, and there's a great big sound. It's coming from within, and I don't know where I begin. I don't know how much longer till giving in. I run up hills with boulders foaming as I go, because I cannot breathe. This stays blue, no matter how down you fall. You'll fall down. The world is ticking, but you can't see it at all. And where we go down again, while they play pretend, and we know this will end. Oh, it will end now. This pain washes away now with the rain, and we have no
So like imagine a badass guitar solo here.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the idea for finishing the song.
Hell yeah.
I don't know why that's just like a thing. We really like guitar solo like outros. They work really well.
You did that right at
Don't put him at the beginning.
Birch Studio, right?
did
You
that
did a
at
guitar
Birch-
solo.
yeah.
Yeah.
A little rusty though. Hopefully it's better than that one. I was a little out of practice that day.
We had been back like 2 weeks, and I was like, let's do this thing. Like, we're probably still jet lagged.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. I forgot that we recorded. So we got our second doses of the vaccine on Friday.
Uh-huh.
I like got it, and I was like, okay, got it at like 10:30 in the morning, was feeling okay. And then all of a sudden at like 2, I felt really wonky. It's like I felt it like hit my system, and I was like, well, this is gonna start going downhill.
Yeah.
And so we tried to do some backing vocals that day, and I just remember just sitting there just being like, I'm not gonna complain, and I'm gonna keep doing this because I brought it up doing this, but I don't feel okay right now. And I forgot we put those on there, so when they came on, I was like, oh, backing vocals. We did that last week. But my thing is in the chorus, like I want to scream it. Like I want to go so big with that
Yeah,
chorus
I hear
because
that.
that chorus is so big. Like that bass line is just like one of the meatiest and like most intense bass lines I've ever heard. So I want to match it, but I couldn't because every time I would, because of the situation with recording, I couldn't hear it and I was just like falling off of the beat. So I had to pull it back, but I want to make that part so much bigger.
Well, I don't know if you guys ever want to like just come like record here. You guys are always welcome.
Okay.
Is that closet a vocal booth?
What's that?
You use that closet as a vocal?
Oh no, like well next door they have like a little setup
word.
going on.
Awesome.
Like whiskey
Yeah.
studio, yeah.
Yeah, whiskey studio.
Cool.
Yeah, so if you guys ever want to record, you're
Word.
welcome.
Vocals.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Because that's like something that would just be so.
Yeah.
Helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not very experienced with recording vocals. I'm getting better at it, and it took me a while to realize and understand that it's a lot different than doing live vocals. It's a lot different.
Yeah.
Like when you're doing live, you're still hearing yourself coming back through the microphone, right? But it's performative. So like if you're technically not singing correctly because you can't hear yourself, like it's not as detrimental because it's like a live thing, right?
Yeah,
And you can
whereas,
still
like-
perform and just like be in it, but like
If it's on the track, you definitely got to get the right take.
you got to get
it's
the
like
right
that
take,
right
or
take.
you're doing it too much, and then like you're tired, and you just don't want to do it anymore because you're sick of listening to the track over and over again in your
Yeah.
head. And for me, harmonizing with myself is really hard. Like I was an alto in choir, so like I got a lot of harmonizing training when I was younger, but harmonizing with yourself is a completely different thing than like harmonizing with somebody else.
Mm.
Do you want to try doing vocals on Parlez-Vous while I'm standing and doing a live version of
Oh
that?
my goodness, do we want to? Sure, let's do it. Let's see.
Well,
If,
my work is already done.
I know because you didn't bring your guitar with
I
you.
finished. I made a whole track.
He did make a whole track. I'm really impressed with how much he works and like how like when we started the band, like when we started working together, it's because I got asked. Well, I was in Taiwan and I had started doing open mic nights, and it was just me sitting on a cajon, just like playing and singing a couple songs I had written. And so I posted in some group on Facebook saying I was like looking for places to play, and somebody emailed me and was like, "Hey, does your band want to play this French music festival next month?" And I was like,
Sick.
"Yes, I totally have a band." And I was like, "I need a band.
I need
in
to
4
get a
weeks."
band. Yeah.
So he was originally supposed to play the bass because at this point, this is when I thought he was just a bass player because that's like all I had ever seen him play.
yeah.
Our other guitar player ended up dropping out, so he's like, "I'll switch to guitar so I can help you write the song." I'm like, "You play the fucking guitar?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's like my main instrument." I was like, "I've never seen you play guitar in 6 months of seeing you once a week playing an instrument." He's like, "There's too many guitar players at jams. There's never a bassist there, so I just bring my bass and sit in the corner and play all night." I'm like, "That's a good way of doing it." So he started like writing with me after like switching back to the guitar. So yeah.
I'm a way better guitar player.
You're
This one might be
great
quieter.
guitar
Yeah, I don't think
player.
I've done any mastering on this one, but the input might be a little quiet, so I don't know. That's better than too loud.
Yeah. I can always turn up the gain on here as well.
But he just likes making music, so it's been a really good like music partnership because it's like we get stuff done.
No, yeah, that's definitely the execution is like huge.
Okay.
All right.
The thing about doing these songs instead of doing it with the live band is like you have to pay attention so much more because of like sequencing and cueing. It's like with the live band,
Yeah.
it's like if they want to
More
go a
loose.
little, if they want to
More
go a
loose.
little bit longer, if that
Well, I'll
guitar,
figure it out. It'll work out
Yeah,
eventually.
but, like-
You hear it. The
but,
machine
like,
doesn't hear anything.
but like with
the
this,
machine
you're
is
like
cold and dead.
you gotta like listen and pay attention. It's like I have to count and like. All right, so hopefully I don't screw this up. But this song is called "Parlez-Vous Blessé." I wrote this song 2 years ago around this time after getting hit by a scooter while biking at 3 o'clock in the morning in Taipei City.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That was your cue.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Wait, is that the sticks?
Yeah.
Shit. See?
There you go. So if you're playing live, you could just like, there
Right.
you go.
Right? Like,
Whatever you want, come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Right, because then the mellotron comes on.
try this actually.
of you. I see the colors, orange and blue. I sometimes feel in purple too. Parlez-vous the same? I got hit in the blindest way. I probably should have taken the train. I see colors when I should see pain. I feel colors when I should feel pain. Take me to bed. Make me a pillow for your bones. So soft, so fragile, and so small. I'll take you to a simple place. I'll make my throne next to memories of the two. I swear I'll keep for you my trusted adversary. You my adversary. Place my fingers in the shape of ones. Oh, I am the primordial sun. I'm always biting my own tongue. I'm rather cheeky. I'm kind of smug. Parlez-vous the same? Watch me gush just like a creek. Balloons always catch their own seepage, like watching that CCTV footage, watching yourself crashing, watching crashing and creeping. Take me to bed. May I cry? a guitar solo with
Yeah,
you.
another guitar solo. Imagine more. It's like 16 bars of just this.
Yeah, and it's this and lots of noise and I like screaming.
Yeah.
Love that. That's Parlez-vous Blessé.
It's the newest one.
The what?
The newest
The
one.
newest one, yeah.
Although that's also the oldest one that we've done.
Yeah, we wrote this one a couple years ago.
Yeah.
This was the melody line. The main riff was the melody line that John had for years, and he brought it to me, and he's like, "Hey, you do something with this?" And I was like,
Really?
"Yeah, I want to stand on stage and smoke cigarettes and berate people while singing this song. This is great."
I'm getting like circus. I don't know, circus vibes. I don't know. That was
Love it.
piano. You know, dun,
That Mellotron, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that thing is cool.
Oh yeah. Super dope.
Thank
Fucking
you.
just like the loud like the bass noises, and then the contrast with your voice and like the emotion that you put into it. It's like I don't know.
Love me
it's-
some way too loud
yeah.
bass.
The way too loud bass is fine because I like to
love
scream
it.
and I'm loud. So like that was the fun part of playing with the 5-piece band was just getting loud and like stupid. And when you could get loud and stupid and you could still hear yourself,
Yeah.
you're like, this is the greatest thing ever. Because then you could just really play with everybody and
Yeah,
just go
yeah.
into it. Because they would get loud. They would get
Yeah.
really loud.
Well, we'd all be trying to be louder than one another, so that's an arms race upwards.
Right, and
Trying
then
to
the
out loud each
drummer.
other.
Exactly.
We always got
Someone's got to be the loudest,
always-
and someone's got to be the quietest, and it's not going to be me.
right. We always ended up speeding up too, right? Because like when you play live drums, you
Oh,
just
yeah.
tend to go faster. So like
Yeah.
with this thing, this just pockets you because like the key is always set. Like somebody's not gonna play the wrong chord or like the tempo isn't gonna change because the drummer got bored and wanted to start going faster or whatever. So like this thing is really good to play with.
Shout out Nate.
Shout out Nate, we love you. You're the best drummer in the world. My favorite thing about him is when he would eat snacks on stage. He would just like
Ooh.
reach down and pull out like a bag of fish, like dried fish
Dried
snacks, and
fish,
just
oh my
eat it
God.
on stage. I loved it. Drumming's tiring, I get it.
Mhm.
It takes a lot out of you.
Not easy.
Shit. And so that's 2 tracks off from the project.
I guess
Is
we don't have a
that-
name for the album or anything like that, or the EP. I'm just trying to get shit recorded because I feel like I sort of learned a lesson from this last year and a half of being in a band, right? Just like writing so many songs and having like a really good sound and finding some fans and then not
People
having
being
anything
like, where
to
can I
like,
listen to you?
yeah, like let me
Yeah.
check you out, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't I can't give you,
Yeah.
you're asking to like be a fan right now and like search my shit, and I have nothing to show you, so
Come to our show next Thursday. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
so I'm hoping to like make this project a bit leaner and like much quicker to execute and quicker to get stuff up on the internet, and so
Easy to
sure.
find, right?
And easier to
people can
find.
be like, oh, I like that song. You're like,
Yeah.
okay.
search us on this, and this. That being said,
Spotify.
we don't have a Spotify.
We don't have a Spotify yet,
Yeah.
but if you follow us at Parliament of Owls on Instagram, I've been trying to keep up on the social media. So, like, when stuff will go active, I'll put it on there. We also have a Facebook as well.
Sure. I don't know if you guys use DistroKid.
That's the one I was planning. I hadn't put a
Cool.
subscription subscription payment in yet, but that's the one I figured I should use.
Yes.
Yeah.
DistroKid is
Corey's
the
old
move.
roommate was a big fan of DistroKid.
Yeah.
and had a good,
DistroKid,
had
yeah.
a good experience with it.
Definitely the move.
DistroKid and CD Baby was the other one that I know people having experience with, but I think DistroKid might be better now.
It's definitely cheaper.
It's cheaper, yeah.
Which I like that. And who buys CDs, anyways?
You get the
That's CD
TikTok
babies.
royalty.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you want. You want
Yeah,
the
I want
TikTok.
that TikTok money.
You want, you want all that TikTok money.
Actually, vinyls too. I really want to get into just making vinyls. Vinyls would be super dope.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, vinyls are making a huge comeback. I think it's
Yeah.
because the price of oil dropped significantly,
Yeah.
so it's all of
Ah.
a sudden profitable to make vinyl records again.
Oh shit.
Remember when Harrison came up to us outside of Bob Mondays and said, "Can you guys make a tape?" Like he
Wanted
wanted a
us to make a
cassette
cassette
tape.
tape.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, "Okay, we could probably make you a cassette tape." Like he's like, "I'm really into cassette tapes. Can
I don't have a cassette recording machine.
I'm sure we could figure that out. There's plenty
Yeah.
of thrift stores in Ventura.
You say that, but it's very much my department and not yours
That's
to
why I'm
get stuff
smiling
recorded.
at you like this.
We could definitely get that done, and by that I mean you could definitely get that done, right?
Yeah. There's a rule. I'm not allowed to touch the equipment. When we're setting things up, I plug in my microphone and then I go get snacks and beer.
Solid.
Yep.
You guys got that workflow going on.
Yep. I don't
Yeah.
touch things that I don't know anything about. Are you serious? That makes more problems for everyone. I'm not doing that. Just let the professionals do their job. I can go get snacks.
Yeah.
That's something I'm capable of.
What kind of snack?
Oh, God. What was a good pre-snow snack?
Oh, well, Taiwanese snacks.
the
So
salty chips.
there's every flavor of chip that you imagine is not there. They've got like maybe cheese or like salt
Definitely
chips.
some fish.
But then like seaweeds or
yeah,
fish or like
fish.
shrimp chips
Duck.
or like American burger flavored chips.
Yeah.
They'll have like
Texas-
American hamburger
Texas
Pringles.
It
Texas
just
Pringles.
says Texas. That's the flavor of Pringle. It has a
What
picture
does
of a
Texas
barbecue and a hat
salt
on
taste
it.
like?
I never
I
tried
guess
it.
barbecue. Me either, but they have Texas flavored Pringles.
Well, yeah, it's a whole different market, and they market all of their Pringles and Doritos and stuff like that with basically completely different flavors.
So many weird things. So many weird chips. It's good though.
But yeah, fried fish for sure. I bet like that's probably one of the things. My grandma cooks fried fish at home, and
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, it's an island, right? So there's seafood.
Oh yeah,
Everywhere.
second best sushi in the world after Japan, I've heard.
Yeah.
There was a bit of Japanese like cultural influence for a few years there before China came over, and
Yeah.
so there's a few fresh fish markets and stuff like that. Some really like up there like sushi places.
Yeah.
A lot of sushi chefs left over from when the Japanese were over. So you get some really really good sushi in Taiwan
Yeah.
if that's your bag.
Have you guys been to Yosemite?
I have not.
I think I went years ago, but it's
Years
been a
ago?
really really long time.
I've never
I'd
been
like to
there.
go back.
Yeah.
But
We're planning on doing a trip, getting like an Airbnb and just everyone from here,
Interesting.
just going
Word.
out and stuff. So
When you guys going?
like November.
All right, word.
November, yeah. So
that'd be cool.
That would be fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude, that'd be dope.
Okay.
Getting Airbnb,
Make some music, hang out.
make some music, hanging
I've
out.
never been
I
to
like both of
Yosemite.
those
Go
things.
hiking.
Yeah, right. I have a photographer friend who's in Bangkok now. My friend Kevin went out to Yosemite a couple years ago and took these like fucking phenomenal pictures. I just remember like
Wow.
that set being awesome. He just drove out by himself and just gonna take some photos and come back to Philly.
Yeah.
They were really cool. So it seems like a really neat place to go.
Yeah,
Down.
yeah. It's like I guess I don't know. You'd have like just seeing El Capitan and like how big it is and like the face of the wall. It's crazy. Like you look up at it and it's like holy shit. This is like
Humbling.
yeah, it's so humbling.
That sounds cool. I'd be down for that.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Cool.
I don't know. Where can people find your music?
I've got a SoundCloud under John Franco. I don't know if you have a SoundCloud. That's just
I
a few
put
tracks.
all of my stuff on the All My Boyfriend SoundCloud. I
Okay,
use
so
that as
you're on
my
the All My
closet.
Boyfriend SoundCloud. I've got an
I put all
Instagram
my
at John
rage shit on
Franco
there.
Music.
John
John
Franco
with
Music.
dots in between the words. JON dot etc.
Franco.music.
You
Exactly.
can follow my Instagram, Ms. Written Art, MSWRITTENART on Instagram. I also post my music on that one too. That's just like my life, right? So just post everything on there, art and music, and then All My Boyfriends with a Z on SoundCloud is where you can find some. Oh, Scarification's on there,
Yeah, it is.
the electronic version of it.
Yeah, but
You know,
that
like,
one does have the guitar solo
that
as
one's
promised,
good.
but it's nowhere near the level of like.
that was like the
production
first
finesse.
time we did that, right? And that was well over a year ago.
That was the first electronic version of like one of our songs that I'd done and tried to do it in like a synthy kind of drum machine style,
Yeah.
and it came out okay. But the harmonies are nice. You do a couple like nice
Thank you.
harmonies on the thing.
And the vocal stuff, we did that one through Logic for the vocals, right? Or through the Zoom
Reaper-
recorder or something?
Reaper through like
yeah,
a
yeah.
little sound card. But yeah, that one I just hadn't figured out. I really had this picture in my head of what I wanted to do for the electronic music, and it was very like detailed, and it was very like textured, and it was very like kind of like too many things happening kind of vibe. And that song definitely was not that. And I only figured out how to do that recently, so
Yeah.
that's how I'm doing all the songs now. But that one wanted to be that, but I just didn't have the technical ability to like execute that.
You've come,
Yeah,
look
but
where you
now-
are
yeah,
now,
for sure,
right?
now it's-
like,
yeah.
you can see your growth.
Yep.
Like,
Definitely.
like you sat there and you just told me the harmonies were nice on that song, and then I'm smiling and saying thank you to you, but in my head I'm like, are you serious? I
Well,
don't
were
think they're
fine.
that good.
It was a lot of unisons, but they sounded all
Yeah,
right.
no, but like, yeah. So like you're hard on yourself when you make things. I think that's just a human thing, because we want it to be good.
Blessing and a curse,
It's a
right?
blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
We're
And then
just-
you guys have for your music, right? Instagram for your music.
yeah, Parliament of Owls.
Yeah.
That's our Instagram. Yeah, and we both post like some music stuff on our personal instas too.
Yeah, occasionally stories and things like that.
As the PR department, sometimes I forget to
PR
push that
department.
button to go back and forth between the Parliament of Owls and my personal. So like, I swear I'm a millennial and I know how to use social media. It's not very well.
But yeah, I guess 2 upcoming songs from probably an EP.
It's an EP. Yeah.
We're gonna have, because at this rate I can get a few more done in
Our first
couple months.
album.
Wow.
The
I hate
pressure.
Our first album.
It sucks.
No, it's great.
No pressure, no pressure.
That's fine.
no
Well,
pressure.
it's not the album; it's an EP, right? So that's what I
Yeah.
figured out as the cheat code. Just put out as many EPs as you can
Yeah.
until you've established some kind of like fan base, and then put out an album. Because the first album is like pressure, right? And
Yeah.
it's like
Mhm.
So the
people remember that
EPs
shit. Nobody cares about EPs, so you can
Yeah.
use that to like build your following and craft and shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, now I'm ready for 12 songs or
Yeah,
whatever.
ready for the real thing. Because we tried doing one song with the band, and we still haven't finished that recording, and we've been working on that for over a year. And I was like, we're going to get this done in like 2 weeks. No,
Learned a lesson.
that's not how that
2
works.
weeks
at
turn into a
all.
year.
Yes.
Exactly.
But hey, when the time's
Absolutely.
right.
hmm
When the time's right.
Well, it feels pretty right now. We got a vocal recording set up now.
Yeah.
We can come here and record.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yep.
I also don't think Tess enjoys me screaming underneath her room.
It's probably the bass she hates a little more than you're screaming.
Right? Sometimes I went up to go to the bathroom.
Like 3 a.m. and the floor is just thumping.
I went up to go to the bathroom last night, and I could hear that bass coming through for the project you're working on.
White monkeys.
White Monkeys. He's working on a commission for a friend. We'll just leave it at that.
Shout out Marley B.
Charlotte Marley B. Watch out for White Monkeys. It's going to be the most greatest Euro
It's a-
dance comedy
it's a
sensation.
comedy song.
It's a comedy
Oh,
dance.
I took
Trash.
I took it way too seriously.
He's taking it. There's a bridge now. Like there's a bridge. Like one of those things where like there should be a bridge in the middle of this song.
All right.
It's great. Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. It was fun. It
Yeah,
was
this was
fun.
cool. Thank you
Yeah.
for
Thank you for
having
having us.
us.
Thank you. Peace out, guys.
Peace.
Peace.